Today I'm sharing the top 5 flowers I'm absolutely stoked to grow this year. As a recovering grow everything that's pretty farmer, I hope I can help you narrow down your garden plans and maybe even introduce you to a few new favorites. My name's Kristen and I'm heading into my 4th year of growing in my backyard flower farm. We're located in central New Hampshire, zone 5B, on less than 3/4 of an acre. I'm so excited to bring you along on my flower farming journey. As we kick off our 4th season on our micro flower farm, we've learned a lot along the way. We currently sell CSA shares, we do a la carte wedding florals, we sell wholesale to floral designers in the area, and we have a self-serve flower stand in our driveway. Over the past few years, I've grown a lot of different flowers, the good, the bad, and the questionable. But I've learned a lot, and this year I'm narrowing down my list of flowers to the ones that are really special. If you're planning your garden or you're just needing some floral inspiration, I hope you stick around. In this video, we've got a mix of easy to grow flowers along with specialty crops that you won't find in the grocery store. You've probably seen some of these on other growers' lists, but I hope you discover something new today. Let's dive in. Number 1 on the list is tulips. Okay, confession time. I didn't grow tulips in my first season. Spring came around and I saw everyone else picking these perfect, colorful blooms, and I thought, what's the big deal? They're just tulips. Then, in my second season, I grew them. After a long, cold New England winter, there's nothing like seeing these tulips pop open. It's magic. And my customers totally agree. Tulips that are grown in the field or high tunnel come right in the spring, just when everybody needs a burst of color. Now, these are not your grocery store tulips. This is not your single reds and yellows. There are so many varieties that I've become obsessed with. One of the best parts of tulips is their vase life. They last a long time in the cooler, and then once you sell them to your customer or put them in your vase in your home, they are gonna last quite a while. Some of my favorite varieties that I've grown are American Dream, Silver Parrot, Dream Touch, and anything fringed. Seriously, fringed tulips are so cool. You have to give them a chance. Next up on our list is peonies. Peonies are a little more of a long-term investment, but once they're in the ground, they're so worth it. I planted about 50 bare root peonies after my first season, so the first fall that I grew. And it's taken some patience, but now 3 years later, this season coming up will be the first season that I can cut all the flowers. There are a lot of different schools of thought on how long to let peonies establish before you cut them. There are a lot of people with more experience than me, but what I did is the first year I disbudded everything, pinched off all the buds before they could bloom, and just let the flowers take all the energy to the root. Last season, which was our second year, I let 1 or 2 flowers from each plant bloom, disbudded the rest, and then I did cut them and sell them when I really needed flowers. This allowed me to check the variety. But this year, I'm gonna let them all bloom. We're gonna have a beautiful peony harvest. Peonies are so stunning. They bloom at a time when I really need focal flowers. My floral designers love them. My customers love them. They are just all around a staple in our June bouquets. Next on the list is zinnias. Oh, I'm obsessed. They're easy to grow and the color options are really endless. You can start them inside a little bit early, but they also do really well direct seeded. Generally, what I do is I plant one succession inside so I can get them right in the ground at last frost, and then I plant the next succession right in the field. I have had success with both. The zinnia craze is real. There are so many soft, beautiful, muted colors coming out of some smaller breeders. I'm totally here for it. One thing I like to keep in mind when I'm deciding which flowers to grow is what kind of demand there will be from my customer and my floral designers. And one thing about zinnias is that they don't ship well. You're not going to find them in your big wholesaler or in the grocery store and things like that. So even though they are this flower that a lot of people grow in their garden, when you get a specialty variety and you can grow really beautiful blooms, they will be sought after because they don't ship well, and people that don't grow them can't really get these really beautiful colors. The succession planting is important. They are prone to powdery mildew, so once your first planting gets the powdery mildew, go ahead and pull those and then rely on your second planting and then plant something else in its place. My favorite varieties of zinnias to grow are any of the Benary's giant colors, so they're going to give you some really large, beautiful blooms that have really long stems. I also love anything in the Queen Lime series. They're really unique and beautiful colors. My absolute favorite, even though it's a smaller bloom, is Oklahoma Salmon. The salmon color is unmatched. I love it so much in my bouquets, and my floral designers love it as well. Next up on the list is sunflowers. Sunflowers are a true crowd pleaser. My customers love them. There's nothing like that bright yellow-orange color to make someone feel the summer vibes. Another great thing about growing sunflowers is that there are a lot of different variations and colors available now. That being said, I have had some issues in the past with pests. We had a woodchuck one year that ate every single stem that I grew, or if they would get to the place where they were about to be ready to cut, and he would just come through and flatten them. So we've since done a lot of woodchuck defense on our farm. And last year I had issues with slugs getting the new growth that had freshly germinated when I direct seeded. One of my biggest issues has been not having enough to meet the demand of my customers. So we've made some changes to the way that we're going to grow the sunflowers this year so that we can hopefully keep them going and get enough out to our customers. I've only ever grown the Pro Cut series, so they're pollenless and made for cutting, one stem per plant. I know that there are some other varieties out there that other growers really like, but at this point, from what I've tried, I really like Pro Cut Horizon and Pro Cut Plum. Those are my two favorites. Number 5 on our list is Lizzianthus. Now we're getting into the specialty flower territory. Lizzies might be my favorite flower on the farm. They're unique, stunning, they look kind of like a rose. So often I hear customers say, "What is that? Is that a rose?" And then explaining to them what it is really fun because they've never seen it before. I have tried to grow Lizzianthus from seed, but over time I've weighed out the risk versus benefit, and for us on our farm, buying them in as plugs works the best. It guarantees I'm going to have healthy plants and gorgeous blooms. I've had a lot of success just growing them in the field without cover. I do net them and make sure that they stand up straight so you don't get wonky stems, but I've never had issues growing them in the field. Lastly, the thing that makes them a total winner in my book is their vase life. They last at least 2 weeks in the vase, which makes everybody happy. All right, bonus flower. I could not leave you without talking about dahlias. Dahlias are one of those flowers that feel like they're a really big investment up front, but they are so worth it in my book. This varies for different growing zones. I know in warmer climates, they don't love growing there. So for me, in the Northeast, with some cooler temperatures and a well-draining field, these flowers really thrive. My first year, I bought about 30 different varieties, 1 or 2 tubers of each one, and last year, I planted over 400 tubers in my field just from those 30 tubers that I began with. Over time, I've sifted through to find which varieties I really like to use in bouquets and which ones my floral designers really like. For my CSA and my flower stand, I really like the ball varieties. They have a bit of a longer vase life and they tend to work better in mixed bouquets. For my floral designers and wedding work, those big specialty dinner plates and those larger decorative varieties work well for design. Digging the tubers in the fall can be a lot of work, but they're a staple on my farm and for us it's worth it. Some of my favorite varieties, my favorite white dahlia is Bride to Be. I also really love Cornell, Jomanda, and Caitlin's Joy. There's still many other varieties that I want to try on our farm, but we'll get there. I hope you had fun and learned something new about the flowers that I'm excited to grow on our farm in 2025. If you learned something new today or you want to see more from our flower farming journey, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Thanks so much for hanging out today. Happy growing.